This is Unit 6, Chapter 2, Lesson 7, Simple Interest. Here's Mrs. Purdue. Who? I know, we haven't seen her, right? Here she is.
Hi, good to be back. Today we're going to talk about simple interest and what it is and how to calculate it. So if you look up at the board here, the I can statement is, I can solve problems involving simple interest. So you're probably thinking, what is simple interest? Well, simple interest, let me move my board here and we can see, simple interest is the amount of money earned or paid for the use of money. So when you earn money, it's when you put your money into the bank and the bank will pay you to keep your money in the bank. So that's how you earn interest, and it's called simple interest. If you have to borrow money, so like maybe for a car loan or maybe a student loan or a mortgage, they charge you to borrow money, and that's where you have to pay interest for the use of money. So we're going to use a simple equation is I is equal to your P times your R times your T. Each of these letters represent something in the equation. So the I stands for the interest. So I'm going to write this here. This is your interest, either earned or paid. The P represents the principal. That's the amount of money that you either borrow or that you put into the bank. So this is your principal. The rate, your rate is a percentage. So we have to make sure when we're calculating this, we're going to change it to a decimal. So the rate is what the R stands for. And then your T is the time. How long do you keep your money in the bank, or how long are you borrowing the money? And one thing to note about your time, it always has to be in years for simple interest. Okay, so I'm going to put this in parentheses down here. So let's use this equation, I is equal to PRT, to calculate simple interest. So our first example here is Jenny puts $1,560 into her bank account. The account pays 2.5% in simple interest. How much will she earn in 3 years? So she's putting money into the bank, so she's going to earn interest. So we're going to use our equation, which is interest is equal to your principal times your rate times your time. And I'm going to take what I'm given up here in the story problem, and I'm going to plug it into the equation. So we're trying to find the interest. However, we know what the principal is. It tells us it's the original amount. So we're going to take this 1,560 and we're going to put it into the principal. So the interest is equal to $1,560 times the rate, which is 2.5, and this is a percent, times your time. It's already in years, so we can just put the times 3 here. Remember, we have to change your percent to a decimal. So really, I'm going to be calculating 1,560 times 0.025 times 3. This is going to give me the simple interest. So if we pick up our calculators and we type in the 1,560 times 0.025 times 3, we get an answer of 117. So the interest that Jenny will earn over 3 years is $117. So this is what the bank will pay her on top of the $1,560 that she has. Okay, let's look at example number 2. Example number 2, this is a little bit different because now we're talking about borrowing money. Okay, so Alex borrows $6,300 from the bank for a new car. The interest rate is 6% per year. How much simple interest will he pay if he takes the loan 2 years to repay? So we are going to use the same exact equation because we're calculating simple interest. And because he borrowed money, he has to pay money to borrow money. I know, it's crazy how our society works, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take what we know. We know the principal. The principal is how much he is borrowing. So we're going to substitute that in for the letter P. So it's $6,300. Okay? We know what the rate is. The rate, it tells us it's 6%. I'm going to write it as a decimal right away. So we have $6,300 times 6% times 2 years, because that's how long he's going to take to pay the loan back. And then we can calculate the interest. So I'm going to pick up our calculators and we're going to calculate 6,300 times 6%, which is 0.06, times 2 years. And this is, the interest is equal to $756. So how this works is Alex has to pay the bank $6,300 for the loan that he borrowed, and he also has to pay the interest, which is $756. So that's example 2. So you've seen the example where you earned interest. You've also had an example where you have to pay interest. Okay, let's look at example number 3. Okay, we're going to use the same equation to calculate interest. So Allie is borrowing $5,000. Okay, so we have our principal for a snowmobile. She wants to pay the loan back in 2 years. However, after the 2 years, Allie will have paid $300 in simple interest. What is the rate of the loan? This time, we're looking for the rate. So we're going to use our skills that we've learned in a previous unit on solving equations. You need to plug in the numbers that you know. So we know what the interest is that she paid. It tells us she will have paid $300 in simple interest. So I'm going to take the $300 and I need to put it in for the interest. Okay? We know the principal. It tells us up here. She borrowed $5,000 originally. We don't know the rate. When we don't know something, we have to use a variable. So I'm just going to keep it as the R. Okay? And then we know the time. It tells us 2 years. So times 2. So now we have an equation to solve. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of work backward. Okay? So you can draw the wall. And we got to simplify this side. So we're going to take 5,000 times 2, which is actually going to give us 10,000 times R is equal to 300. Now what we have to do is we have to divide it out. So we're going to divide out this 10,000. And we got to divide out the 10,000 here. And we're going to end up with R is equal to, we take our calculators, we take 300 divided by 10,000. We're going to end up with 0.03 for our rate. This is in decimal form. You have to get it to a percent because the rate is always a percent. So once you get this, you have to multiply it by 100 because percent means per 100. So if you multiply this by 100, the decimal moves over 2 places and you end up with a 3% interest rate on the loan. So now you've learned about simple interest. So what I would like you to do is see if you can hit the target. So, can you hit the target? Here's question number 1. Find the simple interest. Here, there's no story problem that goes with it, so you have to infer what the principal is, what the rate is, and what your time is. So 640 is your principal, the 3% is your rate, and you have your time. Example number 2. John received $3,000 for a car loan. So he's borrowing money, so keep that in mind. He plans to pay it off in 2 years. And at the end of 2 years, John will have paid $450 in interest. Find the rate of the car loan. Good luck.